Hello, my fair friends. I'm Ruby Ruse. This is Baby Bunny, and welcome to Fairy Fortunes. For those of you who are new to the channel, you ask me a question in the comments below, and I divine the answer with my Fairy Fortune system. So please, I hope you will think about subscribing and hit that notification bell for notices of future videos where I answer questions. So today we have a question from Anonymous, who asks, I'm in a bit of a funk. Can you tell me a way out of it? Well, Anonymous, I don't know if I know a precise way out of it, but we can take a look at some different pathways and see if that sparks some creativity for you. So let's see what the fairies have to say for you today. Tristitia Tengu the bird, she offers her wisdom of word. Your sorrow will wane, find courage in pain, lamenting is meant to be heard. When Populus Penantus plays, the party can last many days. She's fond of the home, unlikely to roam, in comfort and pleasure she stays. A Miss far as wise, her beauty and poise mesmerize. Desire she gives, a true love that lives, you'll find yourself lost in her eyes. Make way for the Queen of the Fae, your fortune is hers to convey. With strength and with grace, success you'll embrace, prosperity without delay. So, Anonymous, in a 4-card fairy fortune reading, the first card represents you and what you are bringing to the table to your question. You were telling us that you are currently in a funk and you're kind of looking for some help on how to get out of that. And here that's very distinctly reflected in the card Tristitia the Tengu. The Tengu is a bird spirit from the shores of Japan. They are representative of those dark times in our life. Now that is not necessarily a bad place to be in. I talk a great deal about Tristitia, and I often say that sorrow is a very important part of the emotional experience. So I don't want you to be too hard on yourself about being in that funk right now, because that is a normal place to be. I know that can sound very challenging and perhaps not what you want to hear. But what I'm trying to tell you is that you're not a freak at all, Anonymous. You're having some difficulties and you're having a very normal emotional response to that. Now the great thing is that you're also in that place where you are willing to explore some creative options on how to improve your world. And that is definitely reflected also with the Tengu. The Tengu is a warrior spirit. And what that means to me is that you are really in a place right now where you're really ready and willing to break out and try some new and different things. You're a fighter, and that's a great thing to be. So the second card in a 4-card fairy fortune reading represents any major events that are either happening right now or could be happening in the future. And here you have Populus the Penantus. Now, Anonymous, I know that you are in this place where you are having this challenge. Perhaps you are leaving something that was troubling for you. Perhaps you experienced some loss in your past. And it can be very hard to break out of that mindset of grief. What Populus the Penantus is trying to tell you is that there is going to be an opportunity in the very near future where there's going to probably be some kind of major event, like a large party that you're going to be invited to. and you're probably going to be a little bit afraid to go. And that's very normal, and you should not be so hard on yourself. But this party is going to be a very festive event. There's going to be people there that are going to be enjoying themselves. And you know what, Anonymous? You don't have to know these people. You don't have to know them at all. In fact, everyone thinks that being a wallflower is such a terrible thing. It isn't at all, Anonymous. Because sometimes it can be a delightful enjoyment to watch other people enjoying themselves. People laughing, watching people laugh, it makes us feel good inside. It makes us want to laugh with them. So even if you go to the party and you're only there for an hour or two, it will break you out of this grief mindset that you have. So if you are invited, I'm going to suggest that you give it a try. You don't have to be the life of the party, Anonymous. You don't have to meet anybody if you don't want to. I would suggest that you say hello to the host, the person that invited you, because they wouldn't have invited you if they didn't want your company. So definitely you don't have to, if you feel like you're going to be hogging all their time, that's fine. You can say hello at the beginning, make sure you say goodbye when you leave. And you only have to go for an hour, or not even an hour. You can go for 15 minutes if that's all you want. But I definitely recommend that you attend this party because it will shake you out of your mindset, if only for those 15 minutes that you choose to go. Okay? So the third card in a 4-card fairy fortune reading represents the environment that you're in. And here you have Amicio the Alfar. Now, the Alfars are also beings of healing. So it seems to me that you are moving away from this funk. If you can push yourself a little bit to shake up your world a little bit and just get out of your comfort zone a little bit. It seems to me that Amicio the Alfar has suggested that can be a very healing thing for you to do, that your environment would be welcoming for that healing to happen. But going back to Tristitia, your mindset at the beginning of the reading, Amicio in Latin actually translates to loss. So it seems to me that your environment is kind of surrounded by this emptiness that you feel. And grief is a process. And you know what? Grief never really goes completely away. And everyone's very scared of that, but the grief process is tied to how much we love that person or that thing that we lost. So grief isn't something that you have to give up. I don't ever want you to feel like you're not entitled to your feelings, Anonymous, because you are entitled to those feelings. And there can be a sweetness that goes with that grief. When we miss someone, we remember how they made us feel. And usually they made us feel loved, they made us feel safe, they made us feel warm. So remember that is also a part of the grief. It's okay to remember people and miss them. But use that as a healing too. Remember how happy those people made you feel. And remember that just because you feel sad right now, you're not always going to feel sad forever. This person, if you did lose a person, or you lost a pet, or a job that was meaningful to you, that is a very difficult thing to go through. But very soon, you're going to be able to remember those things that made you feel that kind of passion, that made you feel that happiness. And that is going to fuel your environment and change it for the better. So keep that in mind. The fourth card in a 4-card fairy fortune reading represents any people that might be involved in the situation. And what's interesting is here you have the Fairy Queen. Now the Fairy Queen usually has a lot to do with the person who asked the question. The Fairy Queen doesn't really need to have outside help. The Fairy Queen knows how to navigate her own world, and she knows how to find resources for herself. She doesn't necessarily need a lot of people from the outside telling her what to do. So I think that that's reflective of you, is that, you know, if you are involved in a grieving process, what's interesting is if you're on the fence about counseling, counseling can always be beneficial. So if you have the capability of going into counseling, that's not necessarily a bad thing here. But definitely come through from that position of, I know what I want, and I know that this is something that has benefits that can fuel me. So make sure that you're doing the counseling for yourself, that it's coming from your own personal choice. But if someone is forcing you into counseling, it's probably not going to work for you. So, but counseling is worth trying, but only if you are willing to see the benefits. Now, the second thing about the Fairy Queen here in the position of people, it seems like you do have a lot of support people that are in your, that are positioned well for you now. So it seems like you have a lot of people that are very willing and able to do things with you and to be a part of your healing process. So unfortunately, especially when people are going through a grieving process or a major loss, they kind of get a little shy and they don't quite know what to do. They don't know if you want to be left alone. They don't know if you want to have company, and then they get all scared because they don't know how to ask you what you need. So don't be afraid to go to your friends and family and tell them, hey, let's go out for lunch because I really want to just change up my environment right now. I need a break. Let's go out and let's have some coffee. Or call them up and say, you know what, I really need to see a funny movie. You know, my favorite movie is this movie. Can I bring it to your house, or maybe we can download it from Netflix or Amazon Prime, and let's watch it with a bowl of popcorn and let's just have a good time. So your friends are probably going to need a little help from you about giving you what you need. They need a little bit of direction. I know that it can be frustrating that when we're going through a challenge that we really want our friends to step up. And it's not that they're not stepping up. It's not that they're only fair weather friends. They're just panicking and they just don't know how best to serve you. So be the Fairy Queen and give them some direction. They will be so relieved if you do that for them. And also that's gonna, you know, if you communicate specifically what you need, then you're going to get exactly what you need. You know, if your significant other doesn't know, is panicking because they don't know that you need to be taken out to dinner, or they don't know if you need to be taken out to see the new scary movie, you know, and maybe, you know, they're so afraid that maybe there's this scary movie and you're a fan of horror flicks, but you went through this kind of scary thing and they're all panicking. They want to take you to this movie that they know you'll love, but they're just frozen in panic. So reach out to your significant other and say, you know what? I really do want to see that movie. Let's go. But the other thing is, you know what? If you think you might be triggered in the movie, just be upfront and say, you know what? I really, really want to see it. But the truth is, I'm really not sure how I'm going to react. Is it, if I need you to come out with me, if I need to take a break, will you come with me? And the answer is absolutely going to be yes. These people care about you and they want to help you. They just are frozen in fear with what to do. So just tell them. I know it can be very frustrating that they don't know, but think about how when you were trying to help a friend and how helpless and chaotic you felt. Here's an opportunity to show people how to help someone when they're going through a troubling time. So my advice to you, Anonymous, is accept that party invitation. Get outside of your comfort zone. Push yourself a little bit. Give your friends some direction, okay? And just know that it's perfectly normal to be where you are right now. You don't have to change, all right? So good luck. Please let us know how you're feeling, and I hope you have a fairyful day.